Okay, so we just started last time the sixth parak in Shaar Habitachon, and it's interesting the way the Chovos Halevavos sets it up because it's coming off the end of the fifth parak. In the end of the fifth parak, if you remember, discussed the 7 differences between the Baal Bitachon, the person who has trust in Hashem, and the non-Baal Bitachon in relation to approach to earning a living. So there are 7 differences how the Baal Bitachon approaches his work, his parnasa, his livelihood, and the non-Baal Bitachon. And essentially, they all really come back to, as we saw in the beginning of the Sefer, of this chelik of the Sefer, and that is peace of mind, menuchas hanefesh. The Baal Bitachon has one constant in his life, that's a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and everything else changes, but Hashem running the world is always the same. And the non-Baal Bitachon is lacking that grounding force, and therefore everything always changes, and he has a lot of ups and downs. Okay, at the end, the 7th difference, the Chovos Halevavos was explained that a person, the non-Baal Bitachon, will have an approach that he's gonna first take care of all his needs in this world, and he's gonna ignore his chiyuv to Hashem. So he's gonna say, listen, the last paragraph he says, when a person is going to admonish him for neglecting his avodas Hashem, his worship of God. This is on page 422, in back couple of pages. How long are you going to ignore what you have to, your eventual destination, preparing for your eventual destination? And he says, I'm going to wait until I have enough income and support for myself, and all my dependents, my wife and my children, to the end of our days. Then I'll achieve a level where I'm not concerned about things that worldly worries, as they translate here. Then I'll be free to pay my obligations to Hashem. And then I'll be able to think about preparing myself for provisions for the appointed day. So we're talking about a person who says, let me back up. Obviously, everyone says, the Chovos Halevavos agrees that a person has to earn a living. And as we said, even though the words seem to indicate that make enough for today and then close your store, even though you have no idea how you're going to have lunch for tomorrow, have bitachon, maybe on a very high level, that's appropriate, but for all of us today, for sure, it's inappropriate. And a person has to plan for the future. A person has to have a parnasa where he knows he has an income, he's going to be making a living for X amount of time. What the Chovos Halevavos is talking about here is about a person who wants to be secure. I want to be set for life. I want to work as hard as I can until I'm 40. And when I turn 40, I'll retire with enough money to support my grandchildren, and I'll be able to devote myself to a Kadosh Baruch. That is what the Chovos Halevavos is saying is inappropriate. Of course, a person has to have a mahalach. He has to have a plan how he's going to support himself and his family, but that plan doesn't have to be that he has enough money in the bank now to last him for the next 30 years. A person has to put away money, it's responsible, but there is a gvul, and the tricky part is that it's hard, there is a gray area where it's hard to know, is the person being irresponsible or is he a Baal Bitachon, right? So everyone agrees that to close your store when you made enough money for today is irresponsible for almost everyone this day and age, right? To work and neglect avodas Hashem, the service of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, until I have enough money for the next 30 years, we all agree that's excessive. Somewhere in between a day and 30 years is the proper amount of hishtadlus, and a person has to figure out for himself where that balance is. What's that point where I have to be concerned about, and then beyond that is a lack of bitachon. So he's talking about a person who says, I'm going to make enough money to last me the rest of my life, and then I'll devote myself to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's the 7th difference between the Baal Bitachon and the non-Baal Bitachon. Where the Baal Bitachon does what he needs for his parnasa, and the non-Baal Bitachon goes too far. The entire 6th parak is being built off that. Where he's going to come now, and it's a long discourse where he gives 7 reasons why that approach to Yiddishkeit is incorrect. And it's actually insulting to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. For a person to say that I'm going to first amass wealth, that I need to feel secure in this world for the long term, and then I will devote myself to Hashem, is offensive. It's insulting to Hashem. So I'll explain how I understand how the Chovos Halevavos understands this person. And it's a chiddush. The person is saying to Hashem, I want you to give me now everything that I'll need, or all the reward. A person does mitzvahs, he gets reward, right? So a person doesn't deserve anything, right? But when we do mitzvahs, at least that's something that gives us some sort of reward in this world that we're being over Hashem. The person says to Hashem, listen, I'm not sure if you're going to make good on your word. So I'm going to take now, I'm going to make all the money that I feel I need and take that kind of as collateral for the good life that you're going to give me. I want you to give me good life now, while even though I don't really deserve it, I want to take that from you. I want to take from you my life for the next 20 years. You have a 20-year-old says to Hashem, you give me a good life for 20 years, and I'm going to go earn a living, and then I'll pay you back later by living a dedicated life. That's what the person is essentially saying. The Chovos Halevavos on page 424, he compares this person. He calls them people with a security mentality, right? People that always want security. They want a guarantee from Hashem, and so they ask him to put up a pledge before they busy themselves serving him. It's like a businessman. He sells merchandise on credit to someone he doesn't trust. He takes a pledge. So I'm going to sell you the merchandise. I don't think you're going to pay up, right? I don't think the person doesn't think Hashem is going to take care of them really. So he wants a pledge from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because of his fear that his client is untrustworthy. So for example, Rabbi Miller says, if the buyer of an expensive item is not able to pay immediately, the seller tells him, place your gold watch with me as security, so I can be sure you're going to pay me. That's how they're dealing with Hashem. They say to Hashem, you want us to become devoted to your service? First give us a pledge, put down enough money that will last us, and then I'll devote myself to you. So Hashem says, keep Torah and mitzvahs, I'll take care of you. That's what Hashem is telling the person. And the person is saying, you know what? Give me some security. First give me what I need to live on for the rest of my life, then I'll devote myself to you. So what's wrong with this argument? So says Rabbi Miller as a hakdama, as an introduction to the first issue the Chovos Halevavos raised as follows. He says, imagine a person walks into a bank for a loan. So the banker says to him, okay, you want a $100,000 loan. We're going to pay you $33,000 in 3 installments, right? Every 2 months, we'll give you $33,000 until you get to your $100,000. So the person coming in for the loan says, you know what? I want to guarantee that you're going to do that. I want to guarantee that you're going to lend me the money. So a person is not likely to say that to the bank. Why? Because the bank has the upper hand, right? This person needs money from the bank. The bank says, I'm going to pay you over the course of X amount of time. It'd be inappropriate for the recipient, for the borrower to say, could you please guarantee me that you're going to give me that money? Says the Chovos Halevavos, the first way of answering such a person, showing him that his approach is incorrect. We're going to tell him, you who doubt the power of Hashem's decree, you don't believe in Hashem's greatness and His might, that He can deliver on what He's promising you. The light, you whose light of intellect has become dark, the the lamp of understanding has become extinguished, and has been overcome by darkness of his desires. It's only fitting to demand a mashkan, to demand collateral from your friend, who has no authority, no control over you, and whose command does not require your obedience, but a hired worker, who hires himself out for work for people. It's not correct to tell you, you send in your resume for a position, you get the position, and the employer says, okay, I pay you every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck. So you say, you know what, can I have some guarantee you're going to pay me? I'm starting a new job, I'm working for a new employer, and he tells me you get paid every 2 weeks. You know what, I'd like a guarantee before I even start working, right? I want to guarantee you're going to pay me. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us into this world. We're the employee and he's the employer. And Hashem says, keep Torah and mitzvahs and I'm going to pay you. So we tell him, you know what, Hashem, I'm not sure if you're going to pay me. So if you can please give me a guarantee. I want to first work and be guaranteed my parnasa for long term, and then I'll serve you. Right? He should be happy, says Rabbi Miller, that he has a job. The employer doesn't have to hire him altogether. Can the worker tell the employer he won't do any work unless the employer puts down a security that he's going to pay the salary at the end of the week? He doesn't tell that to the employer. Leave your gold watch with me to make sure you'll pay me at the end of the week. You walk into your new employer and you tell him, Yankel, I want you to give me your gold watch on your hand, so I have a collateral that you're going to pay me. The employer will say, take a hike. I'm hiring you to do a job, and for doing the job, I'm going to pay you. Now you're going to tell me you want a guarantee of the wages before I do the job? That's inappropriate. Or the more so, an indentured servant is not going to have the audacity, the ridiculousness to tell his master, I need you first to give me collateral that you're going to pay me. Or the more so, a created being. He's not going to ask for security from his creator before he goes and serves him. And it'd be surprising. If the service that a servant gives his master on condition the master pays him, a typical master would naturally consider that disgraceful. Like it says in Pirkei Avos, in Perek Aleph, in the first Perek, you shouldn't be like slaves that are worshiping their master to get a reward. Not to receive a reward. Meaning the ideal is we should serve Hashem not with an expectation for reward. And now, 100 times worse than that is before I do any service, I ask for collateral. The pasuk says, an unwise nation. So says Rabbi Miller, in conclusion, he says the first argument is you ask for a pledge when you're doing someone else a favor, right? If I'm doing someone a favor, I can say, you know what, I need you to promise me that you're going to pay me back. When I'm doing you a favor, that's what you say. But when you're the recipient of the favor, azah chutzpah, you ask someone to lend you money, you say, you know what, I need assurance that you can actually do the favor for me. That's a chutzpah. The person doesn't have to do the favor for you. That's the first svara, the first point the Chovos Halevavos is making. For a person to say, I first need to feel very secure in my life before I could worship you. So he's saying, he's telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I need security that you're going to actually pay me. Again, we're here to worship Hashem, and in return, he pays us. It's like the employee asking the employer for a security, he's going to get his wages. That's argument number one. V'hasheni, argument number two, shekol makabel mashkin mechaver, anyone who receives a collateral from a pledge from his fellow, yesh lo kitzva uluvakashasoi tichla. There's a limit to it, to his request. It's for a limited period of time, right? So you're lending money, so you want to have collateral. So give me your gold watch. You're buying this expensive furniture from me, and you hope to sell. And the person, the buyer doesn't really have the funds for it now. So, okay, you know what? Give me the gold watch, and I'll take it for X amount of time. So Rabbi Miller gives the following example to introduce the next svara. He says, if you're selling merchandise worth $1,000, right? So, but I don't know you. So I say, leave me your gold watch. And when you're ready to pay me, I'll give you the gold watch back. The watch is worth approximately $1,000. It makes sense. Take the merchandise and leave the collateral with me. The person says, I know my merchandise is worth $100 and your watch more or less approximates that. That makes sense. But let's say I don't know what I'm going to sell you. I'm not sure what I'm going to sell you. And a man comes into the store and says, and I say to him, guy walks into the jewelry store and I say, leave me your watch. And the guy says, what for? Maybe he's buying a box of toothpicks. Who knows why he's walking in? A person walks into a store, you're not sure what he's going to buy. So the seller says, just leave me your gold watch. So first, let's see what I'm going to buy. Same thing over here. Explains the Chovos Halevavos. There's no limit to the security. The Yid is asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu a security. I need to have my parnasa here for the rest of my life before I can serve you. He doesn't know how much he's going to need. Food and other things, for the rest of their lives. He doesn't know Bechlal. So how could you ask for a pledge from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, an amount that a person has no idea how long he's going to live? He has no idea how much he's going to need. Even if he has this far more than he needs, still, he's not going to feel secure because the ultimate amount is really hidden from him. Is a person at age 40 ever going to really feel that he has enough money to last him forever? Most of the time, not. Who knows how long a person is going to live? It's foolish to ask for this. He doesn't know how much. There's no amount, there's no measure. He's not asking from Hashem for a specific amount. When he's 20 years old, setting out on life, he doesn't know how much to ask Hashem to make him feel secure. So a person, again, in normal circumstances, would never request such collateral from someone else. The third argument, Hashlishi, and we'll probably end with this one, when you ask a person for collateral, right? So you go and you say, I'll lend you the money, but first I need a pledge from you, I need collateral to make sure that you're going to pay back. You only do that if there are no outstanding debts between the lender and the borrower. And his fellow has no claim on him. Then he's justified. But if the lender owes the borrower, right? So Reuven comes to Shimon and says, can I borrow money? Right? So Shimon is the lender. So Shimon says, yeah, you can borrow money, but I need from you collateral to make sure that you're going to pay me back. That's what Shimon says to Reuven. So Reuven says, hold on a second. You, Shimon, you owe me more than I'm requesting to borrow from you. If the lender owes the borrower because of a previous debt, the yoda sheyesh lo olav chayvus ru'uyos, and he knows that he's valid obligation to pay it back. Ein lo levakesh mimenu mashkin b'shum panim. He has no right to ask for any pledge. V'lo yiyeh roy lakachta mimenu afilu im yisnadev boy hamamushkin, and he shouldn't take the security even if he offers it to him. Koshkin aboyer, all the more so Kadosh Baruch Hu sheyesh lo ala adam min achayvus ru'uyos, who a person has to whom man has very valid obligations. If you would take all the good deeds of all the people from the beginning of history, you give all those ma'asim toivim to one person, that wouldn't be enough of a credit to repay even one good deed, even one chesed that a Kadosh Baruch Hu does for us. How can that person not be embarrassed to request a pledge? In other words, we're in debt for a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We already are in debt for all the chesed Hashem does for us. We are in debt for that. So how can we ask for a pledge? It's like a person who is lending money to someone who the lender owes much more money to. Right? So Reuven owes Shimon $100,000. He owes Shimon $100,000. Shimon comes and says, can I borrow from you $10,000? So Reuven says, yeah, only if you give me a pledge, you give me collateral. Says Shimon, what do you mean? You owe me much more than I'm asking from you. So for us to ask from Kadosh Baruch Hu a guarantee, he's given us already so much more that it's inappropriate for us to ask for that guarantee. That's the third svara of the Chovos Halevavos. So we'll hold here for now. And Be'ezras next week we'll pick up with these 3 points and we'll further clarify this Nakud. Okay, shkoyach everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a good Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos.